Cast away by blood, betrayed by my own kin, thrown into a pit, no way I could win. Sold for silver pieces, bound by Pharaoh's land, but I held on to the promise, his plan.
So Joseph, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, one of the 12 sons of Jacob, also known as Israel. Jacob, his story, again, we have a little bit of favoritism. Joseph was the son of Rachel, which means that he absolutely adored Joseph. And Joseph got special treatments. While the other brothers would be out in the field, Joseph would be in there getting kind of babied. And he was put above his brothers in many different ways and many different facets. One such was that Jacob gave Joseph a coat of many colors, this very vibrant, very expensive robe that he wore, and it was kind of, to his brothers at least, it would be a sign of, oh, well, he's the favorite, he's the favored one, he's the daddy's boy, the one that daddy's going to give everything in favor. So the brothers decide that they are going to take Joseph, and they're going to do something to him. And, Joseph also has these dreams, and instead of keeping the dreams to himself that he's above his brothers, he tells his brothers about it, thus sparking a little bit more of the jealousy and the, oh, well, he thinks he's above us aspect. So they decide they're going to do something to him. So they get him, he goes looking for them, they get him, and they throw him into a hole, and they're planning on just killing him. But then they decide we can make some money off of selling him to these slave traders that are coming by. So they literally sell their brother into slavery for next to nothing. In today's terms, it would be like selling someone into slavery for $50. It's not going to get you a whole lot. So Joseph ends up, he's now in slavery, goes and stays at Potiphar's house. He's a slave at this guy, this general Potiphar, and through his still trying to be positive, still trying to do what he can do and do the best that he can, he ends up getting put into a very high position within. Even though he's still a prisoner, he gets put into a high position within Potiphar's house. And Potiphar put him in charge of everything that Potiphar owned and worried about nothing. Literally says, look, I don't have to worry about anything because I've got Joseph here taking care of it. Well, insert Potiphar's wife. Here we have a young, good-looking guy in Joseph. Joseph was a handsome guy from the way it describes it. He was a young, strapping young lad. He was also not Egyptian, so he's a foreigner, young foreign guy. And Potiphar's wife starts looking towards Joseph in a provocative manner. So Potiphar leaves, and his wife lures him into being alone in what appears to be the bedchamber. And Joseph is forced to make a choice in that moment because, again, Potiphar is a very important person, so his wife would most likely be an attractive woman, and she is straight luring him into this bed. And a lot of us get into these different positions where we're put into making a choice in that instance of giving into our fleshly desires and our fleshly temptations, or doing what Joseph did, and that is getting out of the situation, leaving that situation in any way possible. Joseph runs out of the room. He doesn't stop, ask questions. He doesn't say, "Oh, stop and go, well, I don't think this is really right. Maybe we shouldn't." He runs. And sometimes we've got to get out of those situations and run in that facet, in that manner. Otherwise, we're going to end up giving in. But in his running out, she reaches out and grabs his cloak and then goes and screams rape. Joseph did nothing wrong, but she's got a piece of his clothing and yells rape. We see that happen in today's society as well, whether it be right and a rightful claim or not, there are a lot of unjust claims of that as well. So the issue is not a modern issue that we have of rape and false accusations of rape and things of that nature. It's gone on literally since the beginning of time. She was denied what she wanted, so in order to get back at him, she screamed rape. And we see that, unfortunately, on both sides of the aisle of there are people that get away with things that they shouldn't and people that are accused of things that they didn't do on that line. And it's a very disturbing thing that has been going on from all the way back there. Continuing with Joseph's story, he's now put back into a prison. He's no longer just a slave. He's now in the prison. And again, he still continues to do what he's supposed to do. And he's put in charge. Basically, he's kind of the head guy of the prisoners in prison. And eventually, through some other circumstances, without going too much into detail, gets released and works his way all the way up to the second in command of behind Pharaoh, the second in command over all of Egypt during the height of Egypt's empire. He is the most important, most powerful man in the world, second only to Pharaoh. And there's a famine. But Joseph tells Pharaoh that there's going to be a famine and sets up a preparedness, sets up a plan in order to have food during the famine. We're going to have 7 years of feast, followed by 7 years of famine. So during the years of abundance, we're going to put things back. We're going to put things back so that way whenever there is a famine, we still have things to eat. Well, the famine hits and everybody's starving, and they're coming to Joseph to get the food because he's still got the storehouses. Remember, he made the plan. So they're setting up. Well, the famine reaches the other lands. Soon it reaches Joseph's homeland. And his brothers come looking for food. And it's in this moment, Joseph again has to make a decision as his brothers who sold him into this slavery are now standing before him. He could have struck them down right then. He could have exacted a revenge on his brothers for all the different things that he had gone through, all the different things that he had, going through prison, being sold into slavery. Now his brothers are standing before him in a private room within a place that he controls. He controls the guards. He could have exacted revenge on them at any moment. And he gives the line, "What you meant for evil, God used for good." What you meant for evil, God meant for good, because without you having done these things and selling me into slavery, we would all be starving. I wouldn't be here, and we'd all be starving. So even when we go through difficult times, even when we go through bad things and difficult times, God can use those things for good. We have that line there, and we also have Romans 8:28 that says, "For we know that all things work for the greater good for those who love him and are called according to his service." So Joseph's story is a literal definition of Romans 8:28 of all things work for the greater good.
Cast away by blood, betrayed by my own kin, thrown into a pit.